Yeah, you're fine. Hello, everybody, we're back, and Zane has replaced his microphone. Say hello, Zane.
Oh, I'm glad everyone can hear me now, probably.
Oh my god, it sounds so much better. Really sorry about the first game, but I hope how exciting that game was made up for every moment of Zane's microphone destroying your ears.
That was quite a game.
It was fucking something else. Alright, we're here in the second map. We've got one of the players. I can't find the other player again. Zane, you're going to have to help me out. You have suggested Prodigy. LiquidProdigy, incapable of joining the game. It's quite impressive.
Prodigy doesn't just let anyone add him on his friends list.
Has he got ranked since we played the last game?
No.
Okay.
Before.
He's still Grandmasters then.
Yeah, on the British server. I don't know what he's on the other servers.
Only on the British server.
Yeah, I mean that's where the best players in the world play.
It's true. That's where you play, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm one of the best players.
You're not quite as good as LiquidProdigy, however, are you?
Oh.
So in the first game, we saw Thors in medevacs. We saw a base race. We saw everything going absolutely crazy. What do you think is going to happen this game, Zane?
I think Prodigy's going to be the one busting out the crazy moves this time.
Yeah, you didn't think... Okay. You didn't think what happened was crazy enough?
Oh, I mean, it was crazy, but I mean, I think Gooseman's going to try and take it easy this game, but Prodigy's going to say no, and he's going to come up with the crazy stuff.
I really hope so. I mean, geez, I don't have enough kind words to say about that game, but for now we're going into this game on my favourite map of all time, Metropolis LE. Over here in the top right position, would you like to introduce the first player, Zane?
We have one of the most innovative players of all time, and definitely showcasing it in that previous game. But still down one map. It's sponsored by Doritos and Mountain Dew. Gooseman!
Woo! Gooseman! And we introduce our liquid player down here in the bottom left.
In our bottom left. Going against his team's colours in the red, one of the greatest players of all time, undeniably, it is LiquidProdigy.
Absolutely. You can see both of them madly producing SCVs. I now correctly have a production tab, which is kind of awesome. I missed having a production tab, but we've got one back now, everyone.
That's nice. I mean, last game, when the Thors were in production, the Widowmines, Hellions, it was hard to tell what was going on.
It was even harder to tell what was going on when you don't have anything other than the supply counts.
Yeah. We didn't have minerals or gas, anything?
No, I had nothing except for supplies and names and a mini-map.
I have heard that Prodigy does play like that sometimes. He plays without the minerals, gas, anything. He just learns, memorizes it in his head, so he becomes one with the game. And I'm sure that pays off in his play.
It does make the game a bit more exciting, especially when you're that good at the game. You kind of don't need that information at a certain point. It becomes a bit redundant. Do you want to know what the most exciting thing about this current matchup we have right now is, Zane?
What?
They're close by air.
Oh, I mean, what could we see? Maybe battle cruisers?
Maybe Banshees.
Maybe someone will even take the island at the top or the bottom.
Absolutely. Man, I've missed this map. This map is the shit. Every way.
I had some issues during the Investor Broodlord era.
Debatable.
But I mean, Prodigy laughed in the face of the Investor Broodlord era. He showed us all that it wasn't overpowered at all. I mean, and if you're as good as Prodigy, that is.
Yeah, absolutely. So, is there any restriction on the spawn locations? Because we see Prodigy coming out, Gooseman coming out with a very smart scouting technique and going diagonal first.
Well, I mean, if he's going to go diagonal first, then I'm going to say that that's the best. I mean, that you can't spawn close by ground.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's also confirmed by Prodigy just going straight to his opponent's base and immediately knowing where he is.
And I mean, the sick micro with the Marine Prodigy actually managing to take out the SC from Gooseman just barely.
Just barely destroying that little guy.
And
poor little fella.
This is really revolutionary. It's amazing how Gooseman hasn't made an orbital yet, and he's actually gone one rack CC before orbital. I mean, that's just amazing. Like, the mule pays for itself, pays for the orbital almost twice, but Gooseman's still not opting to go for it. I guess this is... when he gets scanned, his opponent will see the energy count and be really confused, and he'll use his confusion to his advantage.
The thing about that is, though, Prodigy went to Gooseman's base where he met an SCV that was trapped outside by Gooseman, and then came to the conclusion that Gooseman wasn't actually living in that base and went to the other base instead.
Oh, that's smart by Gooseman.
Yeah,
He's just so innovative. Like, you wouldn't expect anyone else to do these kind of moves. Like,
No,
even Prodigy, as great as he is, he just doesn't have the innovative mindset that Gooseman does. I mean, just look at this. eBay factory. I mean, the eBay was made before the Orbital. Let's just throw that out there.
that's kind of cool. That's the kind of play I like to see.
And the eBay for Prodigy just slightly later. I mean,
It is the most important building right now, when they're basically doing nothing.
yeah, I mean, Prodigy even has an SEV standing doing nothing. Simon the SEV. I mean, but that's on purpose. I mean, now it's not because he's gone to make it build the refinery, but it was on purpose because he didn't want to mess up his perfect SCV micro. I mean, he's got it so perfectly done so that there's always 2 on each patch except 3 on the far ones. That's exactly what you want.
That's exactly what you want, especially 3 on the far one, because it really makes that difference to mining time.
Prodigy sees this base on the right, and he thinks, oh, maybe he lifted to the island or something. He doesn't know what to expect.
I think he's going to go scout the bottom base, because he's still not quite sure where his opponent is as of yet. Hopefully soon he'll be aware that he's not... He might be in his base. That's the only base he hasn't scouted yet.
I mean, to be honest, Gooseman, knowing this guy, he could have just lifted to the south spawn. I mean, he's the person who does that kind of thing. And wow, a planetary being made at the natural of Gooseman. This guy really has an aversion to orbitals as of late, and for good reason, I suspect.
Yeah, I think Planetary is the smarter choice in the TVT matchup because you never know when Marines might attack you. So by getting that Planetary, you can actually destroy everything that your opponent can make.
I'd just like to point out there's an error in the game client at the moment. It shows that Prodigy's supply block, but he's actually not. He's actually a 43 out of 80 supply. It's just an error in the game client. Like, Blizzard knows about it. They should fix it soon.
Yeah, what you can't see is there's actually a supply drop on his ramp supply depot. He's just that far ahead right now. Mm-hmm. Oh, there we go. The game caught up. As you can see.
And I mean that tank not being sieged, so smart. I mean, it managed to kill a Marine, but the animation didn't show the siege mode tank, so that should confuse Gooseman a bit as well. And the turrets going down from Gooseman, 6 of them in fact. He recognizes this is a dangerous map for air, and he wants to prepare. Whereas
that's smart.
Prodigy has that 6 EPS star sense, so he knows that he doesn't need to make turrets. I mean, if there was a Cloak of Banshee, even though he has no vision of anything, he would just have turrets, I suspect, because he has that star sense. He's just that kind of player.
No, he's going mech as well, just judging by the number of factories he's currently building, which is going to be a real surprise for Gooseman when he realizes he's invested way too much money in missile turrets.
Well, I mean, the Doom Drop is very important in this matchup. Gooseman knows what he's doing, regardless of the tech choice of Prodigy. These turrets are a fantastic investment. And even so smart, leaving an SCV next to each turret to repair them in case any air threat comes in.
Yeah, in case the Mutalisk comes in, you really want to be able to repair as quickly as possible, so you should leave 1 SCV by every turret.
I mean, at this level, when the Doom Drop...
Except for this turret, because... And the other one.
Well, I mean, he sent the SCVs back because... he recognizes that there's no Doom Drop coming, but if there was, then he would probably send the SCVs back to repair those turrets, because repairing even for a few seconds can make such a big difference in this matchup.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the timing is past now. He's reading the metagame really well, knowing that his opponent... He probably already knows that his opponent has an expansion, a bunker, a tank, and a bunch of Marines. 2 tanks, in fact. So
at this level, you don't really need vision, to be honest.
No, that's true. That's why, if we look at... Prodigy's vision, we see that he still hasn't scouted the main of his opponent because he just doesn't need to know what's there.
I mean, that planetary is scary enough.
Yeah, the planetary at the natural is enough for him to know, I'm pretty safe, I can build whatever I want.
And the Banshees are coming underway. I mean, it's interesting, he's making Banshees, and he got I think he got the Raven upgrade, but he hasn't got Cloaking Field yet.
I think that's for a transition later on. He wants to be able to just transition straight to Ravens once his opponent sees the Banshees. It's a clever long game, a meta game he's playing, and his opponent won't be able to deal with it necessarily.
I mean, and the Banshees coming in to harass the supply depots, but the SCV's are already in position to repair them. But is he going to repair them? I'm not sure.
I don't think he needs to. I think he's just going to return those SCVs back to the mineral line. Yeah, that's the smart thing to do there. You don't want to lose the SCVs to the Banshee by accident.
And Prodigy's so good. I mean, he's not going to lose any SCVs to this Banshee.
He lost 1 Marine. That's kind of a miss micro there from Prodigy. I don't think usually he would have made that mistake.
And what's interesting is Prodigy only now makes the turrets. I mean, he waited until he absolutely had to, and then he made them. Whereas Gooseman made them early, so Gooseman not with the sickest star sense, not as sick as Prodigy's at
Well,
least.
that's clever because it means he is now 2 ahead in worker supply. You see, that extra time he spent not building missile turrets allowed him to get that lead in worker supply.
And what's really interesting is Prodigy's got 4 in gas, 1 in gas, 3 in gas, 2 in gas. So he's got one of each number from 1 to 4 in each of the gases.
Yeah, it's smart that way because then your opponent doesn't know which gas geyser to kill. Because they never know whether they're going to get the full worth out of it of the amount that you're mining from that geyser.
And wow, Prodigy taking a page out of Gooseman's book and leaving an SCV next to each turret. And what's really interesting to me is the difference in turret placement from each player. It really shows the playstyle that they're both going for. Gooseman's turrets are on the outside of his base, whereas Prodigy's tucked them more towards his mineral line. He doesn't want his mineral line being harassed because he really wants that economy, whereas Gooseman just wants to protect his production.
Yeah, it's a much more aggressive stance from Gooseman, and that can clearly be seen by the fact that he's built 4 Ravens. Ravens are the most aggressive unit in the game, I think everyone will agree.
Talking about aggression, look at the base placement from Prodigy. He doesn't even care. He's just building the 3rd right there in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, normally you would build it down the bottom, where it's less likely to get directly attacked by your opponent, who is directly above you. But I think he's evaluated the situation and discerned that this is the way he's going to get the most money out of this game.
Yeah, I mean, wow, Gooseman, he's got 3 CCs. He's starting as 5th. He's got 4. He's starting as 5th.
That's kind of aggressive. It'll be interesting to see if he tries and lands his new CC where Prodigy's new expansion is.
Yeah, I think that's a likely possibility. And I mean, Prodigy's starport just finished now. This is a really interesting build, the 13-minute, 30-second starport build. And yeah, he keeps pumping out those mech units. He's got 31 SCVs in his main, so that way if he loses any, he still has he doesn't lose any mining basically because he still has so many SCVs. And while the Ravens spot this, they're going to throw down the turrets. Do you think that this base is going to survive?
I don't think a base can survive that many turrets. I mean, it depends if the turrets actually attack the base. There we go. Those Marines are kind of watching, not really sure what's going on. I wouldn't be either.
I mean, Prodigy must be confused at this. I mean, you don't usually see this many Ravens out this early. And I mean, wow, another planetary.
And there come the Ravens. They're being very aggressive. The point defense drone is down, and a Seeker missile is going to destroy everything.
Wow, and behind this, Gooseman's making like 7th, 8th CC? Wow.
The question is, what is he going to do with all this mining capability? I think he's using them as a... I don't know what he's using them as.
Could we be seeing...
Oh, and it turns out Thors are better than Ravens. Prodigy reading this game perfectly, knowing he needs the Thors to counter the mass air that he never scouted.
Gooseman's doing all this fancy stuff, but Prodigy's just beating him with pure fundamentals. I mean, look at the supply counts. 68 against 142. I mean, it's over double.
Yeah, if you look at the units killed, we can see that Gooseman is actually in the lead. Let's ignore that.
Okay.
It's more about the value of the units lost, and if we look at that, we see that Gooseman has lost the far more expensive units by losing all of those Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, look at these CCs. There's just so many CCs. I mean...
He's turning them all into planetary fortresses.
Wow, this is bunker placement. Look, he can hit the Thors from the high ground. I mean, it's just barely, but he manages to kill it.
That was quite amazing. It depends, is this planetary fortress ever going to stop attacking those rocks, or is it just going to die?
Well, the rocks are the most important thing in this situation. He needs to do as much damage to them as possible.
That's a good point, because later on that could come back to haunt him if he doesn't have enough of a concave for his Ravens.
Now this is the planetary which needs to focus on killing the army, and the mass repair...
The mass repair isn't better than that many Thors, surprisingly.
And the army for Gooseman's 4 Marines, 2 Ravens.
And suddenly Gooseman is looking at a position where he's wondering, why do I have so many command centers?
Well,
and that's a good question. Like he really wanted to play the long economic game, but this Thor rush has just killed him outright.
Prodigy's sending the SCVs from his 3rd to this 4th, which hasn't been made yet. I mean, guess he's going to make it and then start mining. We'll start the long distance mine early because he just want to mine anything out too quickly. And
yeah, he didn't want to mine out that other base too quickly because, it would be really bad if that happened. When
you have 75 SCVs, you do tend to mine out things quickly. And this auto turret micro is so good, and these Marines are doing so good on this choke, but there's just too many Thors.
Do we think we can see a comeback of the like that we saw in last game where Prodigy managed to turn the game around? Could Gooseman do the same?
maybe against anyone else in the world, but Prodigy is just way too good. This guy has won 6 I-Series, the Premier British StarCraft tournament. You don't win that for nothing.
That's absolutely true. Just look at these little guys. They're so happy to be destroying this person's base.
There's still 5 command centers out for Gooseman. When you have 5 command centers and 6,000 minerals, you can do things.
Yeah, you could build more planetary fortresses. I mean, that would probably be where I'd start, because when you don't have any attacking units, you need something that can shoot your opponent's Thors.
Like Yamato Cannon, which he's currently researching.
That's a good point. Maybe he will finish this one Raven and then be able to use Yamato Cannon.
He's already thinking about the battlecruiser transition. It's so smart under this pressure.
It's hard to look that far ahead. Oh, we see a huge Raven drop. Those are turrets going down in this third base of Prodigy.
But still, there's still so many SCVs. 66, 65, I mean, that's still a lot.
Yeah, 65 SCVs is a lot, but, you know, the Ravens are going to be around for a while. They only have energy. They're going to be here forever.
In the hands of an expert player like Gooseman, 3 Ravens can take about any army on.
Yeah, just look how many turrets he's putting down. That's more than he has energy for, actually.
He's gutting the production Prodigy. He's not going to be able to make anything when the supply depots die.
Is it me, or are there more Thors all of a sudden?
17 Thors on the map, 4 Marines. So this is Prodigy showing like a new composition, pure Thor.
When you only have 4 army supply, you know, you got to think long and hard about what you're going to be doing, and I think that's what Gooseman is doing right now. Maybe just contemplating the next game at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I do think this composition from Prodigy, I've kind of overlooked it. It's really interesting. You only make Thors. Like, it sounds so simple, but it's so strong, because Thors hit ground and air, so it's not like...
It wasn't a blind counter for the Ravens. Like, he thought this through. He thought to himself, you know, how can I defeat
air units
and ground units at the same time? Like, regardless of whether my opponent goes Raven or... This planetary fortress is never going to die.
Oh, and the GG goes down. Who's he can't win.
Yeah, I mean, the planetary fortress was actually never going to die, but at some point he had to run out of money, theoretically, so I guess he had to call game.
Yeah, just about. I mean, that was still a close game.
Well, so far it seems that our prediction that LiquidProdigy would remain unbeaten is holding true. It's going to be interesting to see if Gooseman is going to be able to make a comeback in the upcoming games.
I mean, crazy things have happened. I mean, Innovation versus Soul. Everyone was so confident that Innovation was going to win 4-0, but he won. Well, he lost. Sulky won.
Yeah. That game was pretty good. I was interested to see some really cool build orders that I haven't seen before.
Build orders, compositions, even like the eBay before Orbital. That's something that I would definitely copy if I was playing Terran.
Yeah, and the scouting technique used by Prodigy, where he never scouted his opponent's main and saw that he was going air, but knew that if he just went Thor, that he would be able to win the game anyway. That's some clever stuff, because you can actually just save entirely on the time you spend scouting your opponent's main and build more Thors.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely copy that too. But I'm kind of hesitant to say I would copy it, because I think you need to be as good as Prodigy to pull that off.
Yeah, I don't think I'm able to read the game as well as him to make that work.
I mean, one mistake, like one drop. I mean, that's even so sick, because the Thors have such long range. They even have anti-drop. I mean, I didn't really notice it, but he had left so many Thors at home, like next to his factories as well, in case there was drop, or in case there was Banshee harass or something.
It's clever. It was clever stuff. All right, Zane, do you happen to know what the next map is going to be in this best of 7 show match?
Let's see. I believe it is Ohana. That's my guess.